All right, well, also this morning, sometimes starting a family has quite a few challenges. And in honor of Mother's Day, we bring you stories of struggle, heartbreak, and finally, pure happiness. Chad has more now with his special in-depth report, Building a Family.
A couple of years ago, KHQA did a series on infertility, miscarriage, and infant loss. As sad as those stories were to report, they all had happy endings. So now we catch up with some of those families and see how those families are doing. 7-year-old Brighton, 6-year-old Drake, and 2.5-year-old Elliot. 3 different kids with 3 different stories, but one thing in common: they are all miracle children.
I think of all of the steps it took to get to our very first Mother's Day, all the heartbreak and all of the sad parts.
Laura Sievert is Elliot's mom. She and her husband Justin had 2 miscarriages before Elliot was born. The Sieverts named both children and made memory boxes for them to have something to hold on to.
Mother's Day is very special to me. I have 3 children, 1 in heaven, 2 here on earth.
Tara Davis and her husband Craig have had several miscarriages, and their first child, Hadley Jo, was stillborn.
We weren't meant to have a child biologically ours.
Amy Johnson and her husband Derek had 3 miscarriages. They then did 10 infertility treatments, none of which worked. When it came time to move forward with infertility treatments, the Johnsons couldn't take that next step, so they adopted their son Brighton.
My first Mother's Day was 2 months after I lost my daughter, but we had just found out a couple weeks prior to that I was pregnant with Drake.
Mother's Day is really that big sigh of relief, right? We got there. We got over the hardest part, and we have a wonderful little boy.
It was kind of somber too, because his mother gave us such a huge gift. To think about what she went through, I'm so grateful, but please pray for his birth mom because she has to be grieving today.
Amy says birthdays are kind of the same way for her family. 4 months ago, she and Derek were able to make Brighton a big brother. They adopted Sam, who is now 4 months old. 14 months ago, 6-year-old Drake became a big brother when Deacon was born.
A big hug.
And happening in about a month, young Elliot gets to move into the ranks of Big Brotherhood as the Sieverts will welcome a baby boy into the family.
Even when I'm most aggravated and tired,
Being up at 3 a.m. and trying to figure out how to stop him from crying wasn't a hassle, it was a privilege.
there are people out there that don't actually get to experience this. I realize that actually all of it's really a blessing.
I want to thank these ladies for sharing their stories for us, and a big shout out to the dads too. They go through just as much pain as moms, but this being Mother's Day, we put the moms in the spotlight. KHQA is doing something we've never done before, and I'm pretty thrilled about it. Join us after the show this morning on Facebook Live. We're going to do this from 8:30 to 9 o'clock as these moms join us for a candid conversation about infertility, miscarriage, and infant loss. If you have questions or know someone who could learn from this, please let them know.
And by the way, Chad did talk about the series on infertility, miscarriage, and infant deaths. You can see all of those stories right now at KHQA.com.